welcome back to podcast number 28 of the Beautiful Things podcast. So for those of you who are new to my podcast, thank you for stopping by. Those of you who've been following me for a while, welcome back. As you all know, we have been on hiatus for the summer holidays because I was looking after my two children, trying to do a crazy bit of business change, and my life in general was a little bit chaotic over the last 6 to 7 weeks. So I decided to put my podcast on hold. But the kids went back to school on Tuesday. It's now Thursday. I am back in my routine and I am so happy to be back with you. And I have lots and lots to tell you about things that happened over the summer and plans for the future. So here goes. Okay, so in the first bit of news, it's going to be news for the podcast in the future, how it's going to look and what you can expect. So up until now, I've been podcasting purely about my knitting and crochet and anything yarny related, and I've been keeping my sewing and all my other crafts and bits and bobs completely separate and done separate videos. I wasn't podcasting on a regular basis, so weekly or fortnightly, but I was just choosing to podcast as and when I had something to tell you, because personally I just found that worked better for me. So in that respect, nothing's changing. The podcast is still going to be as and when I have something to tell you, but what I am going to do is shake it up a little bit. So for those of you who know me, you'll know that I run a studio, a craft studio in Brentwood in Essex here in the UK, where I teach all sorts of sewing and craft related classes, and I have lots of external tutors who come in and teach all sorts of other things for me. So in the last 6 weeks, we have massively expanded the business and we've taken on the unit next door to us as well. So we're now in a position where we can offer even more classes to our pupils. So I've got an even bigger team working for me. But what that means is that I'm having to create a lot more classes, a lot more content, and I'm getting the opportunity to take part in some of the classes with some of the tutors that teach things that I don't already know. So I'm learning lots of new things at the same time. So what I want to do now is make my podcast crafts in general. I think it probably still will end up being quite yarny and crochet and knitting related, because they're the two things that I do tend to get done in my spare time. But what I want to also include is some of my other makes, so things that I might perhaps make for classes or things that I learn in classes with our external tutors. So the podcast is going to become the Beautiful Things Craft podcast rather than knitting and crochet. I am going to keep my dressmaking a little bit separate though. When it comes to my dressmaking, in the past I've always done reveal videos, fabric hauls, pattern reviews, and I've put them on completely separately. And I'm going to keep doing that simply because I think, to be honest, the majority of my subscribers are either following me for my knitting and crochet content or for my dressmaking content. The two don't tend to cross over. And those of you that are interested in both, well, you can just watch all of the videos. So I probably will mention in my podcast what I've been sewing, and I might say, oh, I've made X, Y, and Z dress this week. Isn't this fabric amazing? And just quickly show it off. But when it comes to a full review of the pattern or the fabric, then you'll find that as a separate video. So I hope you're going to enjoy that format. I think really it's going to be something that's just going to progress as time goes on, and we're just going to have to see how the podcast shapes itself over the next couple of months. But that is what's going to happen. But today's podcast is going to be a little bit more old school, a little bit more old fashioned, because I'm just going to show you what I've been getting up to and what I've been doing when it comes to knitting and crochet. So I haven't had a lot of time to do much knitting and crochet over the summer, but I have managed to get some FOs for you. In fact, I have 3, which I'm quite impressed about. So the first one is my watermelon socks. Now you saw these as a work in progress on my last podcast. They came along to Belfast with me when I went with the family for the weekend, and I got lots and lots done on them there, and they came off the needles I think literally probably the first week of the summer holidays. They've had lots of wear. They are in fact currently on my sock blockers because they are wet straight out of the washing machine. So I've popped them on my sock blockers so that I can show them to you. I've been wearing these loads, and I actually have really enjoyed just wearing them with trainers, completely on show, with like crop jeans and things like that. So they're just like walking along in crazy socks, but they have had a lot of interest and a lot of love. So most of you will probably recognise this yarn. It is hand dyed by Kate. She is absolutely amazing at dyeing these self-striping yarns. It really is fantastic. I used a contrast mini for my heels, my cuffs, and my toes, and the mini came with it. So I didn't buy a sock set, I bought a skein of yarn and a green mini. So I love these. I've got half a skein left, and I'm planning on using that to make some fingerless mitts, because I just love this yarn. It's absolutely fantastic, and it is so much fun. It knits up super quick, because it is absolutely lots of fun, and it has to be probably my favourite pair of socks that I've made so far. So thank you, Kate. Your yarn is fabulous. For those of you who don't follow Kate, she does this yarn once a year. So you need to follow her Facebook page or her on social media, so when she announces her next release, you'll be able to get some. This year it was February. She had it in time for Unravel. So it's going to be a while, but I do know that she has got a few seconds available, so if you pop onto her Facebook page or her Facebook group, that's probably the easiest way that you're going to get your hands on any of this before next year. So my second FO is what I like to affectionately name my compo hat. So for those of you in the UK, you might remember Last of the Summer Wine, and Compo used to wear this manky old Aran hat that was all full of cables, and he never took it off his head. Well, this is my Compo hat. So I'm going to take it off because he does look a bit daft on me, but it's a beautiful cable hat, as you can see. It's a very, very simple pattern, and I'm so proud of myself. This is the first thing I have made with cables. I am gobsmacked how easy cables actually are. They look so intricate that you think, oh gosh, it's so hard. What I can't believe it is actually only every 6 rows that I do anything with a cable needle, and that literally just involves popping a couple of stitches on it. It's so simple. Do not be scared of cable. If you haven't tried it, try it. It really is simple, and that comes from someone who a year and a half ago couldn't knit. So here you go. So big thanks go to Carol, my amazing knitting teacher. She works for me at Beautiful Things, but I've been taking classes with her myself for about a year and a half now. This is one of our classes, so if you want to make this cable hat and you live in Essex, then we can put this class back on for you. We've literally just done it, but we will put another one on before Christmas. This hat is so quick to knit. I got to here in my class, and the class was a one-day class. So I got to here, and all I had to do at home was just the decreases, and I finished that in about an hour at home. It really, really is simple. It's designed to be done in a Aran weight. I didn't have any Aran yarn, so I used a chunky yarn. It's like a soft cotton. I'm not even sure what make it is. I just found it in my stash. But I just did the smaller size, because all I wanted to do was learn how to make the hat, and it's come up really nicely. So I think I will probably get lots of wear from that this winter. It's super cozy. I do feel it needs a pom-pom, but I might just leave it be. And also next time I think I'd probably make the ribbon, oh, I look ridiculous, a little bit longer, so that I've got, I can just turn the cuff rather than turning it up onto the hat to get the size cuff that I need. But I'd say I did this just purely to learn how. It's super easy. I love the pattern. It's really, really intuitive. It's a pattern from a magazine that Carol has adapted for our classes, to make it nice and super easy. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, the pattern's not available unless you come on one of our classes, but I'm sure there are plenty of other in the round cable hats out there, and I'm just a little bit chuffed. So the last one of my finished objects to show you is my Fronds shawl. Now you might remember me buying this pattern. It's a crochet project pattern, and I bought it at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival when I met Joanne Scrace herself. And I bought this yarn ages and ages ago in a de-stash sale. It's Little Boo yarns. I do like Deb's yarns. It's DK, and I think it's called Unicorn Kisses or Unicorn Wishes. I can't quite remember, but it's unicorn something. And it's a beautiful speckly yarn. So let me show you up close. So you can see it's really lovely. It's got all these pops of bright pink and turquoise blue, but then it goes really beautiful pastel shades of pink, blue, yellow, etc, etc. It's a DK yarn, and I used 2 skeins to create this shawl, and it is so lovely. What I love is the points. So you can see why it's called the Fronds shawl. If I can get this to show for you. I have to peer underneath to see whether it's working or not. Oh dear, can't see. There we go. So you can see you've got all these lovely little points which are all bendy and curvy. And it's just like the Fronds on, what's it called? Oh my gosh, I've forgotten what it's called. This soft, fluffy, feathery flower plant. Oh my gosh. No, gone. I'll remember the minute I turn this camera off. Anyway, it's called the Fronds shawl. It's really, really lovely. It's super, super quick to crochet. This literally took me a week, and I did about an hour a day. It should be done in a 6mm hook, but my crochet tension is incredibly loose because I'm crazy, crazy lazy with my crochet. I didn't worry about doing a tension square, but I just took my hook down until I was happy with how it looked, because I knew as a shawl it really wouldn't matter what size it was. I just wanted to make sure it looked nice. So I actually went down to a 4mm hook for this. But as I told you, my crochet is super loose. What I really, really like is that you just keep going until you run out of yarn. So you're never going to get just like that quarter of a skein or a little odd bit left over, which of a sock yarn you could put into a scrappy blanket, but with a DK you're not really going to find much use for. So you do just keep going until you run out of yarn. So I literally had a bit about that long that ended up being darned in a bit and then put in the bin. So I didn't waste anything, which was lovely. It's beautiful. It crochets really quickly. I'm going to get loads of wear out of it. The yarn is lovely. Everything about it is fantastic. The pattern is so simple. It really is. There are 6 setup rows which get you sort of your first little bit. And once you've got that, it is a simple 2-row pattern repeat. So once you've got that in your head, a few rows in, you don't even need to refer to the pattern. It is incredibly intuitive, and I thoroughly enjoyed crocheting it to the point I am on the lookout for more double knit yarn so that I can make another one. So if you've been watching my videos over the summer, you'll know that all I've really done is downloaded some of my Facebook Lives and popped them up onto my YouTube channel, just to keep my channel active more than anything, and so that you could see what I was up to over the holidays. But one of the videos that I popped up was about our crochet club, our online crochet club. And if you haven't already joined it, you literally have a couple of days left to get in. We have started, we have kicked off, but it's not too late to join in. And I can say that our first challenge is the Fronds shawl. There is a discount, oh, kick the camera. There is a discount on the pattern, and I've also got some really fantastic discounts available on yarn from various indie dyers. So if you do want in on the club, send me a message. It's admin@clairemackiness.com. and I can tell you some more information and more details. But in a nutshell, the club is going to mean that you're going to get an online video tutorial once a month, you're going to get a free pattern once a month, you're going to get discounts from suppliers, you're going to get a live Q&A once a month where I will answer all your crochet problems, and you're also going to get other various live bits and bobs, as well as lots of bonus tutorials, tips, tricks, that kind of thing. And you're going to make loads of friends. It's a really lovely crochet community. It's a private Facebook group. It is a paid for membership site, but at the moment we're doing 5 months membership for just £30. So you're going to get on average about £30 worth of content every single month. And so for 5 months, it's only going to cost you £30. So it's absolute steal if you want to get in. So do send me a message. There's a couple of days left that you can join in with us. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. We will be working on UK terms, but I will translate to US terms if need be, for patterns and tutorials, etc. So it's lots and lots of fun. We've already kicked off with our welcome and we've introduced our first monthly challenge, but other than that, I've still got time to get in and make the most of the next 4 and a bit months of membership. Okay, so that was all my FOs. I've got 2 works in progress at the moment. One of them, I'm sorry, it's socks, but I needed something to take away with me on my travels. So it is my down Sheepy Lane self-striping socks. I think I showed you the gobstopper of yarn that I had in one of my earlier podcasts, this one here. So far I have done the leg and the heel, and I've started to work on the foot. I've done all my decreases and I'm a couple of stripes off popping my toe in. The downside, I think, to working with a gobstopper is, as beautiful as they are, you can only do 1 sock at a time, and I'm really worried I'm going to get single sockitis. I personally much prefer to do my socks having 2 at a time, but on different needles. So I'll do my toe, my foot, my heel, my leg, etc. But obviously you can't do that with a gobstopper because it completely defeats the object of having a really lovely gobstopper of yarn. But I've been working on that one while I've been away. A little bit more about my travels a little bit later on, so I won't go into that into too much detail. The other thing I've been desperately working on is my contour shawl, which is another one by the Crochet Project. This is the bane of my life. Why I decided to do a shawl in lace weight yarn, I will never ever know. I love it. It's so soft. I've shown this to you so many times before. It's an amazing texture. It feels fantastic, and I know that I'm going to get loads and loads of wear out of it. But really, there's still this much yarn left. It just seems never ending. It's so slow now. There's about 500 stitches in every row, and they're all double trebles, so it takes forever. But I'm persevering. I have literally got those 2 projects on the go at the moment, and until one of those projects is finished, I am not allowed to cast on or start anything new. So you're not going to see a great deal on this podcast over the next few months of knitting and crochet, because my time is so slim, and those 2 have got to be finished before I start anything else. I said it here first. So let's talk about my travels and my acquisitions. So over the summer, I've been really fortunate to go on quite a few little trips. I started off by going to Belfast just before the summer holidays. I didn't get a chance to go to any yarn shops while I was there, unfortunately, or purchase anything. But it was a really lovely opportunity to spend some time with my 2 kids and my husband. And we went to the Giant's Causeway and lots of different interesting places. Went on a bit of a Game of Thrones trek to try and find some of the film locations, and had a really generally nice time. After that, I went to Malta for a week, again, family holiday, and it was so hot. We didn't even really leave the hotel. In fact, it was too hot. We had a really nice time, but we spent a lot of it indoors in the air conditioning or in the pool, which, as far as the kids were concerned, was fantastic. But obviously no chance to go anywhere yarny or purchase anything. And it was crazy busy. Malta was what was to blame for me not going to Fibre East, so I must apologise to those of you who were looking forward to catching up with me at Fibre East. I was due to go on the Sunday, but we were due to fly out to Malta on the Monday. By the time I finished work on Saturday night and realised I hadn't even got the cases out of the loft, yet alone packed, there was absolutely no way that I was going to be able to go to Fibre East, come home, be absolutely super pooped, want to film a podcast because I'd been there, and do my videos, and then still get packed and off to holiday on Monday morning. It just wasn't going to happen, and something had to give. So unfortunately, Fibre East was put by the wayside for this year, and I didn't make it. But I did get a little yarny trip a few weeks ago. So if you've been following me on Instagram or on social media, you will have seen that my lovely mummy turned 70 in August. And as a day trip and for a treat for her birthday, I took her, my mother-in-law and the lovely Elspeth on a day trip to Amsterdam. Now, the great thing about living where I do is that I'm 20 minutes away from Southend Airport, and every day there is a flight from Southend Airport to Amsterdam, courtesy of EasyJet, first thing in the morning at about 7 o'clock, and it comes back about 9 o'clock at night. And bearing in mind Amsterdam is a 45-minute flight, and when you get off the plane you get straight onto the train and you are 10 minutes from the city centre. Amsterdam is totally and utterly doable in a day. We had loads of time while we were there. We had various drinks in cafes, we wandered around the canals, we did lots of shopping, we went out for a beautiful lunch at the Sofitel, which I've stayed at before, and obviously went on a bit of a crafty road trip. Now, I didn't bother vlogging, I didn't do any filming of it because I didn't go anywhere that I haven't already been. So if you want to see my favourite places in Amsterdam to visit for fabric and yarn, etc., then just check back through my history. I think you're looking at August 2016 and January 2017. So there's a summer trip and there's a winter trip, and both of them have got yarny bits of goodness in there, and all of the shops that Mum and I visited are in those vlogs, so do check back and have a look if you want to see where we went. But I did have some purchases, and I actually have some purchases here to show you that are my mum's and Elspeth's as well, because I'm the one with the yarn winder and the Swift, and funnily enough they can't get started on their projects until I spin their yarn up for them. So I haven't done it yet because I wanted to show you guys what they purchased because it's super lovely. So let me show you. So, obviously, no trip to Amsterdam is complete without a visit to Stephen and Penelope. And Stephen and Penelope I've now been to 3 times, and on the previous 2 occasions, Mr. West was nowhere in sight. But on this occasion, wasn't expecting him to be there, happily looking around the shop, looked down to my right and saw a horrendous bright pink pair of star-covered leggings and thought to myself, there's only one man that would wear those in a yarn shop. Looked up, and sure enough, there he was, standing right next to me, putting yarn on the shelf. So if you follow my Instagram, you'll have seen I got a great selfie with him. He's a really nice guy. I'm gutted, I completely forgot to buy a copy of his book. I had said that if he was there, I would buy a copy of his book because I wanted him to sign it for me. And in my fangirling, take a selfie moment, completely and utterly forgot, but never mind. But anyway, this is what everybody bought. So this is Elspeth's, and it's gorgeous. It's a Hedgehog fibres, and it's called Lagoon, and it's absolutely beautiful. Come on, Mr. Camera, do your thing. So you can see it's this gorgeous tealy blue, turquoise and green. It's like a peacock. I think it would go really, really nicely with a purple colour, but I think she's going to make a little shawlette out of that. And then what else have we got? I love these paper bags. Oh, this is my mum's. I love this colour, and I love the colour name. Again, it's Hedgehog Fibres sock yarn, and it's called Swamp. But just look at that colour. How adorable is that? Just a really icky, swampy green with a beautiful grass green, limes, electric greens, like every shade of green you can imagine. It reminds me of camera. There we go. It reminds me of Fungus the Bogeyman, which I loved as a child. A fantastic story. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Mum knits with this. I think she's going to do a hitchhiker with eyelets, but I'm not sure. So my one, this was a splurge. It was only released the day we were there. It was why Stephen was there. They were releasing the Walk collection of yarns. So there we go. Let's see if that will show you. So it's a brand new range of yarn that they do. It's a Superwash merino, and this one is called, I don't know that it has a name. It's disappointing. Oh yes, it does. Pinata. How good is that? So it's a fluoro, so I thought, you know, you've got to have a fluoro when you're in Stephen and Penelope. It's got lots of lovely black speckles, turquoise blue, all sorts in there. So it's a real mishmash of colours, but I absolutely love that. And I am also going to do myself just a hitchhiker with it, but one with eyelets, just so that it will go a little bit further, stretch a little bit further. I'm quite looking forward to making that, but I'm not allowed to cast it on anytime soon. That was Amsterdam. Then next on my list was a really last minute trip. My husband went out for work and I managed to tag along, which was really lovely. We literally got back on Tuesday, but we headed off for the weekend, or a very long weekend, to New York City, which was fantastic. I had a really lovely time there. I had a whole 36 hours to myself while he was off doing various business things, and I made absolutely the best of that time. I took myself off shopping. I went to Pearl Alpaca. I visited the largest Michael Kors shop in the world, and I may have treated myself to a little something in there. For those of you who are musical theatre fans, I took myself off to the East Village and went and found the New York Theatre Workshop, which is where Rent was first put on the stage, which is my ultimate favourite musical, and generally had an absolutely awesome few days to myself. The Friday night, I was all alone in the big city, and I thought, I don't really want to be out on my own in New York City on a Friday night, so I contacted some of my lovely yarny friends from New York. Unfortunately, Kristen from Villenvine was away, sunning herself in Barbados, all right for some, and Mina had family with her for the weekend from the Knitting Expat, but I managed to catch up with the lovely Shamika from Mika Shop, or Knit Nights with Mika, if you follow her podcast. Shamika was free on Friday in the evening, and she told me about a knit night that she goes to at a place called String Thing in Brooklyn. And so I met her and her lovely friends. So hello to everybody if you're watching. So nice to meet you all. We had a really fun evening. We did lots and lots of knitting, had lots of chat, drank wine, and generally had a really lovely evening at String Thing. And then 4 of us went out for dinner to an amazing Colombian restaurant where we enjoyed the most fantastic mojitos and coconut shrimp. It was a lovely evening. And then the next morning I met up with them again, but this time I met up with them at Woolen in Brooklyn. And Woolen is a beautiful yarn shop, and I would say by far my favourite out of the 3 shops I visited. It's absolutely lovely. Shamika and I spent a good couple of hours there on Sunday morning, just sitting, knitting, drinking coffee, chatting, watching the world go by, before Mr. Mac came back from his business trip and we turned into proper tourists and did all the touristy stuff that you would normally do when you're in New York. So I have filmed loads of footage of my trip. I'm going to put together a completely separate vlog, so I'll show you the shops and all the people and everything else in those vlogs. So I'll pop those up in the next couple of days, but I will show you what yarn I purchased because it's good stuff. So in my little Michael Kors bag, you find the following. So I bought this lovely one from Pearl Alpaca. It is a worsted weight, so equivalent of our Aran, and it's 100% alpaca, hand wash only. But it's in this beautiful bright pink, which is very me. It is incredibly bouncy and super soft. Makes a lovely beard. And I'm going to be boring with this on, I'm afraid, and I'm just going to make another one of these hats. I did really love this pattern, and I can just feel this on my head, keeping my head warm throughout the winter. So I will have to get this one on the needles pretty quickly, so this will probably be the next project that goes on once one comes off. So that's delicious, that's lovely. The next 2 yarns I bought were from Woolen, and I could not leave these on the shelf. Yarn is no cheaper in the States than it is here in the UK. it was quite expensive, but I didn't care. I treated myself anyway. And I bought these two beauties. Now these are sparkly, and I'm not sure whether you're going to see the sparkle. You can in the purple one. Not so much in that one. But they are super, super duper sparkly. And they are by Asylum Fibres. So they're hand dyed in Brooklyn, New York, which I really, really love. One is called Goose Delirium, and the other one is called Goose Utopia. So I absolutely love those, and they are going to be knitted into a shawl, which the lovely Viv has written and designed. I'm going to test knit it for her, and then she's going to pop them on sale, the patterns, and give a donation to Mind, the mental health charity. So I'll keep you posted on that. Anyway, my battery light is flashing madly. I'm going to charge the battery and I'm going to come back. Okie dokie, so sorry about that. Couple more things I wanted to show you. The first was something I picked up from Stephen and Penelope that I meant to mention that I've just come across. I bought these adorable little stitch markers. There's about, I can't remember how many there are, there's about half a dozen I think in the packet. But they are absolutely gorgeous. Let me see if I can get this to show you. Doesn't like me. There you go. Look how sweet they are. The world's tiniest little bikes, which for Amsterdam is incredibly appropriate. So they are lovely. So I'm giving a few of these away to friends over the next few weeks, but I'm obviously going to keep a couple of pairs for myself because I absolutely love them. The other thing I picked up was in our good friend Primark. So Primark is selling for £3 these key rings with these amazing fuzzy balls on them, and there are lots and lots of them. Now I have heard horror stories about these balls because I know a lot of them are made with animal fur, which is a little bit disgusting, but just simply by the feel of this I can tell you it's a man-made fibre, so don't panic. It's not been skinned from some poor dog or another. It is just man-made acrylic-y fibre of some sort, and I'm sure if I set light to it, it would just melt into nothing. But I thought for £3 this was quite good value, considering that it has one of these little elasticated connectors which you normally get on the pom-poms that you buy from the yarn shops, and those pom-poms are anywhere from sort of, you know, £6 to £10. They're really quite expensive. So I figured all I've got to do is get my pliers and take off that chain, and I've got myself the perfect pom-pom to pop on top of my cable hat. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to put it on this one. I might do, or I might put it on top of my pink one, but I'm not sure. But I thought I'd just tip you off that they've got loads of these in loads of different colours. This is a really, really big one. They do have slightly smaller ones, I think about £1.50 or £2. But it could be a really, really good way of buying cheaper pom-poms to pop on your hat if you want one of these super duper Essex style fuzzy pom-poms. Okay, so down to give-alongs. Give-alongs? What's a give-along? Giveaways and gift-alongs. Oh my goodness, you can tell I haven't podcasted for so long, can't you? Okay, so we still have running our gift-along, which is our annual craft-along. It's been running on our Ravelry group now since January, and we're now into September. Every month people have been posting things that they've been making and putting to one side as Christmas gifts. The idea being that when we get to December, you should have 12 presents ready to give to people. So lots and lots of you have been taking part. I did announce a winner for July, so I have a winner for August to announce, and the finished object thread is open in Ravelry for September, so you can pop along and post your finished objects. Now regrettably I'm unable to announce August's winner today because Ravelry for whatever reason seems to have gone on strike. I cannot access it. I can see I've got messages which I can't reply to, and it is not letting me see anything other than the home page. So whether someone has forgotten to feed the hamster that's running around in the Ravelry wheel, I do not know. But next time I podcast, I will come to you with a winner for August. But do please keep popping your entries into the finished object thread. There are only a handful of you that have entered every single month, so the chance to win the end of the craft along prize in December is going to be a very small number of you, so it's highly likely that you could well win if you keep up and you keep going. You've only got September, October and November and December to do. But you don't have to have entered every single month. You can just join us now, and there is a prize every month for my favourite item. So lastly, what's happening in the next few months? Where am I going to be? How can you see me? How can you catch up with me? So I am planning on attending the first ever Nottingham Yarn Festival or Yarn Exhibition in November, on the 12th and 13th of November. I'm travelling up on Saturday morning, and I'm going to go and stay with my lovely friend Saz, and we're going to catch up with Hannah from the Crafty Chat podcast, spend the afternoon at the show, then we're going to go and have a good old girls night out on Saturday night, and then back into the show on Sunday. So if you're going to the Nottingham Yarn Expo, do keep an eye out for me, and don't be afraid to come over and say hi. I would love to meet you. What else am I doing? In October, Saz is coming down here. She's coming down with a friend, and she's going to go and visit Ali Pally. She's going to go and do the big knitting and stitch show. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to go to that. I might do. If I do, I'll do what I did last year, and I'll just get up one morning, get in the car and go. I'm not making any plans. If I do go, it'll probably be on the Thursday or the Friday. And I'll let you know if I'm going to that, so you can come and say hi. But I am, oh no, I won't be going on the Friday, because on the Friday of the Knitting and Stitch show, I am taking Saz and her friend on a yarn crawl around London. I'm going to go and do the East London Yarn Triangle, so Wild and Woolly and a couple of other shops, and obviously she wants to go to Loop, which is inevitable. If there is anywhere else yarny that I don't know about that you think we should go and see, do let me know, and I will try and factor it in to our day. So I've yet to plan exactly where we're going. So that will be towards the end of October. What else have we got on the agenda? Oh yes. In a week and a half's time, I'm going away with Elspeth. We are going to a lovely little village just outside of Peterborough, and we are staying in some accommodation that is literally in the middle of the countryside. It's an old farmhouse. There will be no internet probably. Not a lot of mobile signal, and I am on a self-enforced 4-day social media ban. I'm gonna be fine. Don't worry, I'm going to be fine. I'm still allowed my mobile phone so that I can text my family and receive calls from my family if need be. I'm still allowed my laptop so I can write and come up with ideas and create content. I just can't put it anywhere or do anything with it till I get back. And I am allowed to use the internet purely for the purposes of research for our trip, if we're looking up places to go and things to do. If I want to take part, there are a few training calls and things that I'm going to be doing. I'm part of a business mentor group, so there's some few that I don't want to miss, so I'm allowed to listen to those or take part in those. But other than that, there's no Instagram and there's no Facebook. That's the biggest thing. So for me, that is huge. I post to Instagram on average, I don't know, 2 to 6 times a day. If I'm out and about or I'm doing something or I'm out on a particular activity, then I can post loads, as those of you who follow me know. If I'm having a really good day and I'm out somewhere doing something, then I'm also doing Instagram stories, which I love. But more than anything, I look at Instagram a good 3 times a day. Every night before I go to bed, I catch up on my Instagram stories for the day, and that's kind of my wind down at the end of the day. So it will be really, really strange to not do that. And also not going on Facebook. I've got a lot better in the last few months. I've stopped just scrolling through Facebook because it can literally suck your life away. And I am only really responding if people tag me into photos or into things that they want me to see, or posting in some groups that I take part in. So I have reduced my time on Facebook an awful lot, but to not be able to go on will seem really strange, because I literally will be wandering along and I think, oh, that'll make a good Facebook post. Take a picture, send a post, and just do it from my phone wherever I am. So it will be really odd for 4 days not doing that. But I will still take loads of photos, and I'll take loads of video footage as well. So I'll probably do a vlog when I get back, and you'll probably find that on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday after I get back, my Instagram feed is absolutely heaving because I'll just upload everything in one fell swoop. So you're not going to miss out, but it should be an interesting time for me to see if I can live without social media for a few days. Let's see how I go. So really that's all I've got to say. As I say, the kids are back to school now, we're back into routine, so I should be able to get some kind of routine going myself with crafty stuff, and should be able to pop on fairly regularly for you with some updates. Once again, if you do want to join our online crochet group, do send me a message. I'll pop the details down below here. I'd love to have some of you on board. Thank you for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe. Everybody says that at the end of their videos now, don't they? It's ridiculous, but do. There's also a little alarm bell somewhere around my head, I don't know where. If you click that, then YouTube will send you a notification when I upload a new video, so you won't miss out. So thanks for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye.